seems like with a PhD, you ought to be able to do something more than just.
Go greet some people.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. It's pretty easy. You'll hear them announce what's going on next. So.
All right.
I appreciate it.
Ready? Are you kind of listing? All right. It would be obvious when you. So the next slide is. I can only see the next slide. Okay.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brian Stark. I'm a member here at First Congregational Church, and we are excited to have you here and to introduce our first, hopefully annual, Paul Jehle Mission Grant Awards recipients. Let me give you a brief introduction about how this whole thing got started and how the grant became available and how the funds are in fact distributed. In 1998, one of our longtime members of FCC, whose name was Paul Jehle, upon his passing, left a sizable endowment to the church itself. But one of his requests was that a portion of that endowment be invested and that the interest earned each year be used in part to be given to community groups who assist and support others. Since the year 2000, a small cadre of FCC members has been selected annually by our congregation, who then determine certain themes, solicit applications, vet those that are submitted, and eventually select those that they feel best meet the themes with the ongoing work that they are doing. Since the start of this outreach 22 years ago, nearly $3 million has been given to groups like the ones that you'll be hearing about today. Absolutely. This year, the Mission Grants Group had $179,900 to be used to fund its outreach. We were able to award 21 organizations with grants to continue their amazing efforts. And on behalf of First Congregational Church, we are honored that you chose to participate in the grant process and we are proud of all the work that you are doing and continuing to do. Today, we're excited to honor and celebrate with 15 of those organizations. Actually, I believe there's 16 now, right? 16. And if you are here representing one of those groups today, would you mind standing right now so that we can recognize and thank you? Thank you so much. Thank you very much. We're honored to be able to give a few minutes to the representatives from each of these groups today to hear about the wide variety of outstanding work that is being done, and then to present them with their grant check. So you walk away with the money today. But first, it's my pleasure to introduce the chairperson of our FCC Mission Grants team, our Mission and Grants team, and that's Sharon Walsh, who will take it from here. Sharon.
Hi, and welcome all of you and the organizations and congregants to First Congregational Church. I wanted to take a moment to introduce you to the Mission and Outreach Committee that has worked so diligently in awarding the grants this year. And if we could give them a round of applause, we have Vicki Frederick, Joanne Brixton, Brian Stark, Deb Liebrecht, Anna Canoni is not here today and couldn't be with us, and then Pat Siegel, who's toward the back of the room. And I believe that Deb will be awarding the first round of grants to the recipients. So thank you all for being here.
Good afternoon, and thank you all for coming and for all the hard work that you've been doing on behalf of other people. In no particular order, so our first group that we're honoring is the Administered Justice. Administered Justice provides valuable legal information and advice so people in crisis can be empowered within our legal system. The gospel, excuse me, the Gospel Justice Centers are located in local churches and operate through a team of volunteers who offer holistic resources that include legal, social, and spiritual guidance. Judy Miller will be accepting the donation from us. Judy, is Judy? Oh, well, she's not Judy.
Judy has an eye infection.
Oh, I thank you. So Bruce Strom will be accepting. And if you have something that you'd like to say?
Sure, I'll just share a moment. Now, I'm a pastor and a lawyer, so that's double trouble to give a pulpit to. But it is a joy and privilege to serve the community. I started Administered Justice 23 years ago when I left the private practice of law to invite lawyers all across this country today to live on mission and to use the gift that God has given them, a unique gift, in the loving service of our neighbors who cannot access justice. It's a tragedy in our country that 1 in 3 Americans cannot afford a lawyer. We have created a monopoly. We have created barriers that most citizens simply cannot access. And by breaking down those barriers, by being located in local churches, we invite the neighborhood into a warm, welcoming place so that they can receive help and hope in the journey that they find themselves in. Nobody expects to find themselves in legal challenges any more than they expect to find themselves in health challenges. But they need a place where they can go. And you are making that possible. You are helping us to serve thousands of residents every year, senior citizens who are just overwhelmed, taken advantage of, single moms who are the #1 poverty demographic in America. And they face all kinds of challenges, but they don't face it alone. Because at Administered Justice, we say no one should face injustice alone, and no one does justice alone. So we do this in partnership with you, and we are truly grateful for your support, for your prayers, and for many of you who have volunteered and continue to volunteer through one of our Gospel Justice Centers. So thank you very much. We appreciate your support.
Okay. Our next group is the All People's Interfaith Food Pantry. The food pantry has been serving Elgin since 1969. They are a completely volunteer organization, and they are able to rescue food from various grocery stores, and they work in cooperation with the Northern Illinois Food Bank. In 2022, their pantry has served over 3,455 families with over 11,790 family members. Most of their clients are within walking distance of the food pantry, which makes it so important to keep their doors open. Ron Blake is the president of the board of directors, and he will be accepting the donation on their behalf.
Is indeed, it's all members of the community that we serve, and it's through organizations like yourself that we are able to serve these people. Many of them, of course, are homeless. Many of them are, of course, the working poor, and we see obviously a lot of walk-ins, and we all know by going to the grocery store is how expensive food is. And in this day and age, it's pretty sad, but this is the truth of the matter. It takes a lot of cooperation and help from our rescue you from Jewel Foods in South Elgin, and it's through them that we get a bulk of our meat that we're able to give out to the members. And believe me, these people are desperate for that, and this is one of the big things they all are looking for. And again, it's through your help, and we mean it, that we are able to do this year in and year out. And without that, I don't know how we could survive. And again, thank you. It is so important that we serve these people. Thank you.
All right, our next group is Back to School America. The long-term goal of Back to School America is to make sure every child in America receives a first-rate education. It was founded by their CEO, Matthew Kurtzman, who created the school supplies program for a client while he was owner of an ad agency at the time. It started out, it became Back to School Illinois, and then it's expanded the program greatly to Back to School America. In 2022, they hit a major milestone distributing their 10 millionth school supply, and to date, they have given out over 350,000 back-to-school kits. Matthew Kurtzman will be accepting this donation.
Thank you. I just spent the last 2 nights in Arizona and here in Chicago celebrating teachers. It is Teacher Appreciation Week. And obviously so much of what we do is about giving out school supplies to kids in need. But it is the teachers, which are the lifeblood of our communities, and the ones that are doing the work day in and day out. So I just want to take a moment to celebrate them and the amazing work that they are doing. I'll tell you just one quick story, but when I was in Phoenix celebrating one of the teachers, she was talking about what it was like to serve during the pandemic and how she was teaching remotely. And she was talking about one of her students who was disrupting class because at home she was sitting with a chicken in her lap. So there's a lot of barriers that we face aside from chickens. And the money that we are receiving today is going to go to provide more back-to-school kits to kids in need. As was mentioned just a moment ago, we started here in Illinois and have been fortunate enough to have received support from a lot of companies and organizations that have allowed us to expand. But as much as we're growing, the need, as all of you know, is tremendous. About a third of this country is low income. So hopefully someday we will be able to make sure that all of them have the school supplies that they need. Ultimately, as a society, Education is the cornerstone. If we expect individuals to grow up to be happy, healthy, productive members of society, then we have to give them a good education. And obviously that starts with something very simple as a piece of paper and a pencil. On behalf of my organization and myself, I want to thank you all, and I'm just very grateful. Thank you.
And our next group is Light Bulb Moments. This is an organization that is committed to serving people living with dementia. They are passionate about improving the quality of life for people living with dementia and partnering with the caregivers and medical professionals to develop strategies and treatments. Accepting this award, all the way from Georgia, is Tasani Gordon.
Hello, hello. It's a pleasure to be here today. So the main primary responsibility of the organization is to help people with dementia. So we train the caregivers to better engage with their dementia loved ones. These are for non-paid caregivers. So that's a huge responsibility and commitment on family members and friends to take care of their loved ones. If anybody's ever known anybody with dementia, that can be a very challenging process. So we have volunteers. We're training volunteers now as well to train caregivers to better assist and engage with their loved ones. We put them through the positive PAC method of training them. So it's just an eye-opening experience to watch just in a few weeks how the transition happens, you know, because this can be a very, very difficult process for most families. So we thank you guys for this award today. And it is done in all 50 states. Actually, Dr. Tiny Ray, who runs it, is actually in Vermont right now training nursing home staff how to better engage with their dementia patients as well. So we appreciate this, and anybody living with dementia knows what I'm talking about. This can be a very, very challenging time. Very emotional for me. My father's going through a transition right now as we speak. So, and I never expected that, you know, and I got involved with the program prior to that. So now I'm a benefactor from this program as well. So thank you guys, appreciate you.
And our next presenter is Joanne Brixton.
First agency that I have is BACOA, which is Barrington Area Council on Aging. BACOA is a nonprofit organization founded in 1984. They serve thousands of older adults, caregivers, and families in the metropolitan Chicago area. They address age-related issues through vital social services that work to meet older adults' needs. As the population grows, so does the need for BACOA's services. I'd like to present this check to Matthew Downing, who's representing BACOA.
Thank you so much. I'm gonna raise this a little, I'm very tall. Thank you so much. Well, a client recently said to me that BACOA is like the live Google for aging. We really are the one-stop shop for older adults, families, and caregivers throughout the metropolitan Chicago area, including here in Elgin. From Meals with Wheels to our free transportation program to really comprehensive social services like case management, enrollment, and health insurance. We're really there with seniors throughout, including memory services. Our staff is very dedicated. We have a lot of long-term clients, and we also offer a lot of social programs to help combat the isolation that many people feel and loneliness as older adults. So we help bring that community together. So thank you so much to FCC Elgin. We're just so thankful, and thank you.
The next recipient is the Blake Matthew Mindful Memorial Foundation. It is a nonprofit organization with a mission of issuing scholarships to students pursuing a career and education in a mental health-related field. Gatlin Fenwick is the founder and executive director and will accept a donation.
Good afternoon. Blake Matthew Fenwick was born on October 26, 1999, and his warm smile and generous heart was just as contagious as it was to anyone who had the pleasure of knowing him. No one who knew Blake had any idea that he was depressed. He hid it very well behind his smile. But the day after Christmas in 2020, Blake took his own life. And as his father, about a year later, I inherited $6,000 from Blake, and we decided to issue a scholarship to a Reedsburg, Wisconsin graduating senior who was going to school for a mental health field. And shortly thereafter, we really wanted to keep the scholarship going, so we revived a triathlon competition that was formerly held at our property where we live back in the late 80s and 90s. It's a 6-mile bike ride and a 1-mile paddle and a 2-mile run. And we had about 200 people show up on a rainy day and 50 participants, and we raised $25,000 at the event. And since then, we've raised another $30,000. And it is our ultimate goal to raise $150,000 for every high school that perpetuates an endowment to support the continuance of the scholarship, the $6,000 scholarship for every high school every year. Because in a time where mental health care professionals are in shortage and mental health conditions are poor, now is a good time to get this going. So we are deeply grateful for everyone here at the First Congregational Church of Elgin, and from the bottom of our hearts, thank you very much.
The next recipient is the Community Crisis Center, which is located here in Elgin. They have provided services to the community for over 46 years. The agency provides safe shelter for survivors of domestic violence, as well as individuals experiencing economic crisis. They also offer abuse intervention services, including anger management, partner abuse intervention services, and parenting. Susan Johnson will accept the award.
Thank you. The Crisis Center is so blessed to be supported by the First Congregational Church. We're neighbors. We're just right across the street. And I'm sure that we help the same people in our neighborhood. When you read what we do, it's really not all that we do. We have a 24-hour hotline to help people. We talk to anybody from anywhere. We get calls from all over. And also, We provide emergency food, so we have an emergency food pantry. We have a little bit of clothes because we don't have a lot of storage, so we don't get a lot of clothes. So we had to try to help the homeless population here in Elgin. But we are blessed that the FCC has chosen us to be a recipient of this award because it helps us continue in your community and hopefully for a long time. Thank you.
The next presenter will be Pat Siegel.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's so nice to see you here today. Our next organization is the Elgin Cooperative Ministry. In 1981, 2 ministers were concerned about economic conditions and the situation with poverty that was going on at that time, and wrote letters to other pastors in the community expressing their concern. And they invited 20 ministers to meet to problem solve of how we could serve the community at that time. By 1982, 6 churches agreed to form the Elgin Cooperative Ministries and Faith Pantry, which became the All People's Interfaith Food Pantry. In 1985, a committee was formed to address homelessness, and PADS and our soup kettles came into existence. PADS at that time continued to meet at various churches. Soup kettles grew from several nights a week to 7 nights a week and have been serving evening hot meals every night of every year since 1990. In the early 2000s, Elgin Cooperative Ministries opened membership to both individuals and social service agencies to better understand current issues and respond more appropriately. In 2011, I worked with the City of Elgin to start a client choice pantry with access to offering social services, and one of the outcomes of that was beginning of Food for Greater Elgin. ECM will continue to address issues of food scarcity and homelessness and realize the issue is of much greater significance and are working to expand their mission to be more inclusive of the larger issues that include access to services that precede homelessness and hunger. Joanne Hartman will accept this award.
Thank you so much. First Congregational Church has been a real inspiration to ECM since the very, very beginning, and it continues. It is serving each Wednesday as a soup kettle partner and is constantly helping support us with things like Crop Walk. We are serving between 40 and 90 people every night of the week. We help across the street serve breakfast, vineyard, excuse me, and we continue to look at other issues. That's part of why we are expanding and looking to meet needs before they become critical. So we're very grateful for your support, both monetarily and voluntarily, and we would encourage and request that you continue to support us both ways. Thank you.
Fox Valley Christian Action. Its main objective is to partner with local churches in discipling people in under-resourced communities of the Fox River Valley into a life-transforming relationship with Jesus Christ. Since 1977, Fox Valley Christian Action has served children and families living in low-income communities of the Fox Valley by providing day camps and later overnight camping experiences for children and teenagers at no cost to their families. Accepting this will be Ravella Daniel.
Good afternoon. As she said, my name is Ravella Daniel, and I serve as the Leadership Development Program Director at Fox Valley Christian Action. And a lot of what we do in serving the kids and families that we get a chance to connect with is providing programming and opportunities for these students to be able to grow in their faith. This support is going towards our school year programming. That is such an opportunity for us to meet with middle school and high school students one night a week, and we get a chance to have dinner with them, have small groups with them, and we also do some college and career readiness and helping prepare them for those next steps in their life. And so we are so grateful to accept this award from First Congregational Church. Thank you.
Our next organization is Food for Greater Elgin. Founded in 2011, Food for Greater Elgin is the second largest food pantry in Kane County. Their goal is to combat food insecurity in the most effective and supportive ways possible by giving our community the resources it needs. Every week, Food for Greater Elgin guest choice distribution offering both day and evening shifts for our guest convenience. This style of food distribution has been proven to lower waste while preserving the dignity of clients. Shoppers can receive food once per week and may choose from a variety of products, including meat, fresh produce, dairy, deli, and shelf-stable items, and are assisted by volunteers during the shopping process. In collaboration with other organizations and businesses, Feeding Greater Elgin Community Resource Center provides our clients with the necessary additional services and resources that address any other issues contributing to food insecurity. Accepting for Food for Greater Elgin is Michael Montgomery.
Thank you very much. We served 130,000 people last year, up from 80,000 the year before. They are seniors, they are people who are disabled, they are the working poor from both long ago and right now. And they are immigrants who have come to this part of Illinois and have heard from compatriots that when you need help, this is where you go. We couldn't do this without the hundreds of volunteers who come and do the real work, without gifts from people and churches like yourselves. There was a longitudinal study by the University of Wisconsin which found that over the course of an entire life, 60% of us are going to need assistance. So that when we do something to help others, we're doing something to help ourselves, because we all need a little help. So thank you for making that possible.
Our next presenter will be Byron Stark.
Our next group is Koinonia House, who for over 30 years have helped those who are incarcerated and those in prison to transition back to society, along with assisting their families as well. Today, Barbara Mill is here to accept this award. Oh, Manny Mill is coming. Okay.
Appreciate it. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much to the grant committee and to the church as well. A little shirt here that says hope, and the names of the many of the prisons that we go to. So we serve the inmates in the country. And when you think about it, everything that I have heard here so far today, it involves what we do, because people behind bars are very, very needy in every area. They are homeless, they are poor, they have no food, they have no job, they have no skills, they are old, they need help, and we not only serve them, but we also do their families. And when you think about it, about 90 million people in America that are impacted by the prison system, but most people don't deal with it because we are fearful, but we deal with it up close and personal. We just don't do it from a distance. So we are very thankful that we get this gift sort of for us to be able to do this. And hope means helping others pursue eternity. Hope also means helping our people who are locked up everywhere. And you don't have to be locked up to be locked up. You could be locked up in the most beautiful neighborhood that you live in, you see. So we want to bring freedom to those people. And I believe that this is, something that we don't deal with. They are the most forgotten population in America, and especially by the church. So we are very thankful for your help, and we are thankful for this gift. Amen. Hallelujah.
One of FCC's longest standing community partners is with La Casa Norte, which for over 20 years has helped those experiencing homelessness on the west and south side of Chicago. Accepting their award today is Melanie Rockoff. Melanie, is Melanie here? Oh, there she is. Okay.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much. We are so grateful. I represent La Casa Norte, and we serve Chicago's homeless and housing insecure and food insecure. And just, for reference, prior to the pandemic, we served about 5,000 homeless Chicagoans, and then this past year we served nearly 20,000, so the need has skyrocketed. We provide emergency overnight shelter, supportive housing, transitional housing, a food pantry. We operate a Howard Brown Health Clinic out of our Humboldt Park facility. So we're really offering a comprehensive set of wraparound services so that we can kind of get at some of those root causes, because we firmly believe that everyone has a right to dignity and shelter. So thank you so much.
The last organization that I'll be presenting for is our neighbor to the south, Lazarus House of St. Charles. Since 1997, they have expanded into a center that provide a myriad of services to support the homeless, women and children, and those in need of food. We are happy to have Sue King accept this award today.
Hi, everyone. I'm Julie Purcell. I'm the Executive Director of Lazarus House. And thank you all for this award and for all the support in the past that we have gotten from FCC. We are an organization that began as our founder's calling. She really felt it on her heart to take care of those people who were sleeping on the streets of St. Charles. We started out as a very small shelter and have expanded our service area. We serve a very large area of King County now, and we've also expanded our services based on the needs that come up. For example, we just were a homeless shelter. We now have a women's and children's day center. We have a food-only program for those food insecure within our community who can come to our doors for 3 meals a day. We have a transitional living program, and we also do homeless prevention programs. One of the programs that we do serves all of King County. We're the lead administering agency to bring those dollars and keep them in King County, helping those people stay housed. Right now, we see a huge need for affordable housing in King County. Since the pandemic has happened, all of the rents have gone up. A lot of people are losing their apartments because the landlords know that if they don't renew people's leases, they can then turn the apartment around and rent it for a much higher rate. So we're seeing a lot of people who cannot afford housing. So Lazarus House next step is we have a building that we're going to renovate and create a 2-flat and create a shared housing model to try and provide a little bit affordable housing in our area. So stay tuned for that, see how that goes within St. Charles. But I do want to also acknowledge the courage and bravery it takes for the people who come to our door each day, because it's hard to ask for help and it's hard to receive help. So I just want to acknowledge all the people who come to our doors, and they're the ones really doing the hard work, not us. We're just providing the place for them to do it. So thank you all for your support, and stay tuned for what's coming next at Lazarus House. Thank you.
Our next presenter is Vicki Frederick.
Naomi's House provides a new start for women who have suffered from commercial sexual exploitation. Since 2016, the organization has grown from serving 5 women in one residential program to serving hundreds of women in multiple programs and locations, the latest one right here in Elgin. Rebecca Zeller is here today to accept the grant award for Naomi's House.
Hello, everybody. I'm going to read off a paper. So, like she said, my name is Rebecca. I'm the Community Outreach Coordinator at Naomi's House, and I'm here today to represent our team and to thank you all for the grant that you have so graciously bestowed upon us, this precious community of women in need. We are excited to share that as of May 1st, we have opened our physical space for Reset in Elgin and are accepting clients. We know that transportation is one of the largest barriers for women to consistently meet with a therapist, case manager, and other various appointments. So we do what we can to help supplement this expense so that way they can focus on their healing. This grant you are awarding us will help us supplement the transportation costs our clients incur to receive services, and therefore help remove a barrier for women who are stuck in exploitation to be able to learn more about resources available to them. We are ready to see clients from Kane County and Elgin at our sites, also DuPage, but our hope is that by having resources readily available for women in the community they are living, we will see less women being exploited, which will in turn impact the community in a greater capacity. Reset is a come as you are atmosphere where women who are still in the life or are survivors walk through our doors, they feel no shame and no judgment. They are instantly seen and known. In closing, I want to share a story with you all. Before, we used travel incentives, which was like bus passes, Ubers, trains, tickets, etc. And I used to drive a client and her son from Joliet to Wheaton every Saturday so that both of them can meet with their individual therapists. I remember that one day I picked up the client, the survivor and her son, Junior, and there had been an incident at school where Junior got in a fight and got suspended because I was able to be the driver and take him and his mom to programming at our site in Wheaton. Junior was able to see a free therapist and was given respite that day after all he was going through in turmoil, while his mom simultaneously saw her therapist. The thing is, we work with survivors, but really we work with the families as a whole. The work we do with survivors helps reduce her vulnerabilities, strengthen her relationships and family, and break transgenerational trauma. We are so excited to see what this year holds for Reset in Elgin and the women and their families we serve. Thank you again for this beautiful blessing. We appreciate you all so much.
Refugee One has assisted thousands of refugees from around the globe, including 3,300 Ukrainians and over 500 Afghans from recent world crises. Julia Grafe will receive the grant award on behalf of Refugee One.
Thank you so much. I am just coming from a funeral that I had the privilege of presiding over for a almost 91-year-old faithful matriarch of the church and of her family. So I'm really touched to hear the roots of this grant. But I'm even more touched by all of you, and I'm astounded in all of these recipients and all the work. You realize how much need there is out there, and it's overwhelming. And I stand here humbly before all of you and think, I want to go do that work too. And what you have offered as a church is exactly what we are to be as church. Whatever skin color, whatever your beliefs, this is what we do as a community and help and upward. And I am just incredibly jazzed on the days that I get very sad about our churches and the state of our world. Look at the work that is being done, work that we can't do with our hands, but these donations, this stewarding of funds is amazing. And I am just, I'm thrilled that Refugee One is just a part of all of these people. And the fact that you take the time to celebrate it, coming from Georgia all the way to celebrate this. I mean, it's a celebration. And yeah, now you got a pastor and a pulpit, you're in trouble. But I actually have something written down. But honestly, I'm just so moved and so touched by this work. It really is inspirational. So might be dropped in a sermon one day, but thank you. But let me just share a little bit about my passion, Refugee One. I do have the honor of serving on the board of directors. But Refugee One is the largest resettlement organization in Chicago since 1982. So we're talking just over 40 years. Refugee One has welcomed over 20,000 refugees. And in this year alone, we are, let's see, since July, we run a different fiscal year, so I have to look this up. But we have, since July of 2022, we've resettled 213 refugees. Half of those were our children. I have another little sheet that I had since April 12th to Thursday, we've had 9 arrivals. Our arrivals, our numbers are going up. Because in fiscal year 21, and it all has to do with A, pandemic, B, we never know who's in power in our government, so things change. But in 2021, that year, we only resettled 120 people. It's all that, but they were still able and coming to. But this number has now increased 10 times in 2022. So I don't know why I just said, we have 213 more coming. I apologize. We have, so we went from fiscal year 21, 120 people, to fiscal year 22, 1,121 individuals. Refugee One of the beautiful things that they do is we accompany with our partners, and many of you have already worked with the organization, but 95% of our clients are self-sufficient within their first year of coming. We get to be neighbor. We get to welcome neighbors. And it is amazing that we get to do that work together. Housing, all the things, this money helps us to be able to continue to do that work. The work of welcoming, the work of helping, the work of being what we're called to be. So thank you.
Our next presenter is Sharon Walsh.
Hi, the first grant that I have the honor of awarding is to the Chloe Randolph organization. It was founded with the intent to not only bring domestic violence awareness to their community, but to provide an advocacy center, safe housing, and bring education to victims, survivors, and their families. And accepting the grant on behalf of the Chloe Randolph Foundation is Christine Randolph.
Where my real shoes are. Thank you so much. I'm Christy Randolph, and I am the director of the Chloe Randolph organization, but I'm also an advocate, but most importantly, I am Chloe's mother. We became an organization after her death, March 23rd, 2019 in Henderson. She was brutally murdered by her soon-to-be ex-husband in his apartment with her then 9-month-old son in the apartment, Slim. And that's where my real shoes are at. Slim decided when I was packing that he took my shoes, and last night when I discovered that I didn't have my shoes to go with my outfit, I now have these shoes. So later, if I'm rolling around on the sidewalk, that's what's wrong. We have Slim. He is 4 going on 40. He'll be 5 in June. He is every bit his mother would ever want to be. He has her long hair, her smile. He is every bit of sassiness like she was. Unfortunately, Henderson did not have anything for domestic violence. They had no advocacy center. They still, to this day, do not have a shelter for domestic violence or transitional housing. That's where we come into play because we are going to get that. Victims, the day after her death, I had 75 phone calls. I had 600 calls, text messages, but 75 of those were from victims reaching out. Her dad is with me and my husband. They were reaching out to us, and we were already lost and we didn't know what to do. And we had these victims reaching out to us, asking us for help. Slim was in West Memphis, Arkansas, where the individual that murdered her had fled, and he refused to give us Slim. That was the last blow. I've taken your daughter. I'm not going to give you her son. We got him back, and on court Thursday, in emergency court, I had a lady walk up to me, and my brother-in-law was with us, and he was watching her as much as she was watching me, and I was watching her as well. And her arm was in a sling, and she walked up to me and she says, "I don't want anything. I just need you to know that I know who you are, and I need you to know that Chloe saved me." Because the night that she died, I was getting beat like I had every night. and she saved me, and that gave me the chance to get out, and knew that if I didn't, that I was going to die. That was the defining moment that I knew that if we didn't do something in Henderson for victims and survivors of domestic violence, that they didn't have a voice then. They didn't have a chance. So we created Chloe Randolph Organization. We have an advocacy center. We have Chloe's Closet. It is our mission store. Everything is free for victims and survivors to come that have gotten out of their situation to know that they don't have to go back and to continue to take what they have taken, men and women. We want them to be successful on their journey. We've also created a teen dating violence program because we felt we needed to address our teens as early as 6th grade that have oftentimes been brought up in a domestic home, or as they go forward to learn what healthy and unhealthy relationships are. We've also created a red flag program for employers to identify domestic violence in the workplace and how they can help their employees. And like I said, we do not currently have a shelter for domestic violence. Our answer in Henderson's local officials was, if we don't talk about it and we just keep shoving it out, it's not our problem. But in fact, it is our problem, and it's our growing problem. You have your police calls, and we have our elevated, but we are 1,700 above that and growing with our strangulation cases as well. So this year we're working on transitional housing as well as a shelter, because with a shelter, you can never know that's what it is. You'll never know what that building is. I cannot change what happened to Chloe March 23rd, but what we do going forward prevents the next family and prevents the next Chloe from ever having to endure. We were lucky in Chloe's case that we got a law passed. It's called the Chloe Randolph Act. And in Chloe's case, even though he confessed to killing her, he had control of her body because they weren't divorced. Unfortunately, he did not exercise his rights, but he didn't waive them. So for 5 days, myself, her dad, her brothers had to wonder if the man that confessed to killing her would control what happened to her body, and that just wasn't acceptable. So on 4/24/20, which is Henderson's zip code, 42420, we got that law changed in Kentucky. And again, it doesn't help us, it doesn't bring Chloe back, but it helps future Kentucky victims and their families to know that they're safe. So I want to thank you, and I want to thank you guys for allowing us to be here and to receive this grant. Just thank you.
Our next grant recipient will be the Night Ministry. It's a Chicago-based organization whose mission is to provide human connection, housing support, and health care to members of the community who are unhoused or experiencing poverty. With an open heart, the Night Ministry compassionately accepts each individual as they are and works alongside them to advocate for their immediate physical, emotional, and social needs. And accepting this award on behalf of the Night Ministry is Christy Parsis.
So this has been a real gift to go last and to listen to everyone speak about their organizations and to learn more. So thank you to all of you who have come here today and for all the work that you do. I'll be brief since I'm last. The Night Ministry is celebrating its 47th anniversary this year, and I've worked at the Night Ministry for 20 of those years. The Night Ministry was started by Tom Behrens, just one man, who developed all of our programs based on relationship building and human connection and being open and affirming to all people. These values are still extremely important to everything that the organization does today, and we have about 150 employees today. We were started back in 1976. So we are very grateful for our partnership with FCC, which helps us to provide services to our community of individuals who are unhoused and experiencing poverty. So thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of the day.
I just want to share something very brief, I promise, because we've been hearing a lot of wonderful information. At our annual meeting, when the congregation comes together and passes our budget and all the other things that we do as a church, we have to approve the list of the recommendations for this grant. And you look through that list and there's a very short blurb about what each of those people do. And this has become, or this has been today, such an important, wonderful occasion for us to not just have to look at that 2 or 3 line description, and as we heard earlier, to hear about all the amazing, wonderful things that are happening. So on behalf of our team and our church, we want to thank you for coming and sharing all the amazing work. So one round of applause again. Thank you so much. And now, we want to invite all of you, if you can, to go downstairs. We have wonderful hors d'oeuvres and beverages for you. And we invite you to take a look at the information table. Some of our organizations have brought more information to share with you, and to network and chat with each other. And we invite you and hope that you'll be able to stay for that. So again, thank you for coming, and we invite you to out the door and around the corner and then down the stairs to the right. Thank you.